Chapter-3, Investigation. The Maharshi was asked, "What is the use of self-realization? Why should you seek self-realization? Why do you not rest content with your present state? It is evident that you are discontent with the present state. This discontentedness comes to an end if you realize the self. Are you happy? When you reply with the counter question, what is happiness? That means that you have already observed how brittle, how transient, and how short-lived your so-called happiness is. But maybe what we have in mind was not happiness at all, but only pleasure. Pleasure means the fulfillment of some desire or the removal of something unpleasant. But experience teaches that after one desire has been fulfilled, two other desires will emerge. And after something unpleasant has been removed, something else of a similar kind will present itself and obstruct our intention to enjoy ourselves. We try and try again to change circumstances and conditions. Is it not our birthright to be happy? It is. Then why have we to struggle and to fight and still miss it? Because of a single error of ours. We do not know ourselves properly, and by that same error, everything else is spoiled. Nor do we know what happiness is. Real happiness needs no struggle nor endeavor, no reason nor cause. It is inherent in the real I. However, you and I, we live on a wrong I, as it were. That is the mistake which has to be removed before we can claim our birthright on real happiness. So says Ramana Maharshi, and he advises us to dive deep into ourselves with the question, who am I? Don't expect an answer to it. There is none, because every possible answer which might come to our mind is wrong. However, the Maharshi promises us that one day, provided our perseverance and patience keep us on the path, there will emerge a real I, the identity of the great experience, and together with it, the true happiness, which is called Sat Chit Ananda, the bliss of conscious being. Somebody asked Sri Ramana, when we start this inquiry, who is doing it? Sri Ramana's answer was, the self does no vichara, self-inquiry. That which makes the inquiry is the ego. The I about which the inquiry is made is also the ego. As a result of the inquiry, the ego ceases to exist, and only the self is found to exist. But there are people who feel unable to attack the wrong idea of themselves immediately. They want first to be shown an intellectual approach. There may also be some who do not even know how to go within. To those, we recommend first that they take a closer look at their own person, at that which they take as I. You say, I sit, I walk, obviously taking the body as I, because it is the body that sits or walks. But don't you also say, I think, I believe, I decide? This I seems rather to be of the nature of the thinking mind. And what about your being glad or sad, elated or depressed? Isn't it an I of some sort of feeling? And at another time, there emerges an I which is intending something, planning, designing, an I which seems to be sheer willing. The conclusion seems to be I means all this together as my body, mind, person. My, whose? By looking at these eyes, quite frankly, we see that this body, mind, person also is not I, but mind. So whose? Where is the I to be found in this case? A strange whim of language. Let us consider the body. It cannot be I, because everybody talks about his body. Apart from that, it has been born without having asked its I beforehand, and it shall die without asking its I whether it agrees to it or not. And in between, it is living up to its appointed hour without any consideration for its I, a mere biological phenomenon, a product of this planet. And it seems rather presumptuous to say even my body. Moreover, my body does not at all obey me, its I. Does my thinking mind do that? The answer is no, on the contrary. Thus it seems that thinking, feeling, and willing are functions of the body, or to be more specific, of its brain, a biologically reacting mechanism which serves the body properly without needing an I for that purpose. But still there seems to be an I, because we are conscious of it vividly even now, at this moment, when it appears to lose its last foothold. But hold on. Keep very quiet and observe this I, which does neither think nor will. It has no qualities, is neither man nor woman, has neither body nor mind. It has no trace of the person which you had in mind during your previous questions about the I. It simply is conscious of itself as I am. Not I am this or I am that, only I am. But beware, it's not you who has this I consciousness as an object, but this consciousness is your real I. This pure being, I am, is the first glimpse of the real I, the self, which is by nature pure consciousness. When your attention is keen, then you will discover simultaneously that there is not now and never has been a wrong I. It has always been the same real I, only your mind has covered it up with the idea which it has about your person. There are other opportunities when we could experience this pure I consciously. One such is during the tiny gap between two thoughts, when the attention has given up its hold on one thought and not yet caught the next one. But since we never tried, our attention is not trained this way, and we will hardly succeed in the attempt. There is a better chance to catch it between sleeping and awakening. It is very important to try it if you are serious in your hunting the I. Take care of a few conditions. Try at night, just before you fall asleep, to keep as the last thought your intention to catch as the first thing of all on waking in the morning, the experience of your true I. Another condition, you should take care not to awaken too abruptly, such as by an alarm clock, and also not to jump headlong into your daily morning routine. The moment you awake, don't stir, but remember your intention from last night. You will succeed after a few attempts. And what is possible once, even for a moment, can be extended by practice. This experiment gives you the advantage that you now know the aim of your endeavor. It will help you in your further sadhana, your further spiritual practice, like leavening in the dough. Ramana Maharshi named it the transitional eye and stressed the importance of this experience again and again. The I thought is only limited I. The real I is unlimited, universal, beyond time and space. They are absent in sleep. Just on rising up from sleep and before seeing the objective world, there is a state of awareness which is your pure self. That must be known. The self is pure consciousness in sleep. It evolves as I without this in the transitional stage and manifests as I and this in the waking stage. The individual's experience is by means of I only, so he must aim at realization in the way indicated through the transitional I. Otherwise, the sleep experience does not matter to him. If the transitional I be realized, the stratum is found, and that leads to the goal. I thought and this thought are both emanations from the same light. They are related to Rajaguna, restlessness, and Tamaguna, dullness, respectively. In order to have the reflected light, the pure sattva or peace, from the restlessness and dullness, it must shine forth as I, unbroken by this thought. This pure state momentarily intervenes between sleep and waking. If prolonged, it is cosmic consciousness. This is the only passage to the realization of the self-shining Supreme Being. Why is not that pure I realized now or even remembered by us? Because of want of acquaintance with it. It can be recognized only if it is consciously attained. Therefore, make the effort and gain it consciously. So says the Maharshi. This transitional I is a moment of pure awareness, which is aware only of itself as I, pure identity in itself. Extended by practice, it becomes Turiya, the fourth of the normal states of consciousness. The three other states of consciousness of which are waking, dream, and deep sleep. The waking state is consciousness in movement, caused by sense perceptions and the activities of the mind. In dreaming, consciousness is also moving under the impact of dream creations of the mind. In deep sleep, consciousness is at rest. No thoughts, no pictures, no activity of any kind. That means it is pure consciousness. So it would be realization if we only would know how to become aware of it. However, we cannot. Deep sleep consciousness is covered up by dullness. But since out of this unconsciousness, the transitional I can arise in the shape of pure awareness of itself, as has been shown, we think there must be a bridge between deep sleep and the waking state. There is none, and none is necessary. Actually, there is only one awareness, underlying the three states of consciousness, being their very substance and at the same time transcending them. It is called Turiya, the fourth, only in relation to the three states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. But it is beyond the fourth. Because of the Turiya being the substance of the other three states, we can become aware of the transitional I. And in the same way, we can realize Turiya as our true nature. Pure awareness, never waking or sleeping, never being born or dying. As the Maharshi said, Turiya is only another name for the self. The three states appear as fleeting phenomena on it and sink into it alone. Aware of the waking, dreams, and deep sleep states, we remain unaware of ourself. Nevertheless, the self is here and now, and it is the only reality. Somebody asked, relatively speaking, is not the sleep state nearer to pure consciousness than the wakened state? And the Maharshi replied, yes, in this sense. When passing from sleep to the waking I, thought must start, the mind comes into play. Thoughts arise, then the functions of the body come into operation. All these together make us say that we are awake. The absence of all this evolution is the characteristic of sleep, and therefore it is nearer to pure consciousness than the waking state. But one should not therefore desire to be always in sleep. In the first place, it is impossible, for it will necessarily alternate with the other states. Secondly, it cannot be the state of bliss in which the jnani is, the knower of reality, for his state is permanent and not alternating. Moreover, the sleep state is not recognized to be one of awareness by people, but the sage is always aware. Thus, the sleep state differs from the state in which the sage is established. As the Maharshi said, still more, the sleep state is free from thoughts and their impression to the individual. It cannot be altered by one's will because effort is impossible in that condition. Although nearer to pure consciousness, it is not fit for efforts to realize the self. The incentive to realize can arise only in the wakened state, and efforts can also be made only when one is awake. We learn that the thoughts in the waking state form the obstacle to gaining the stillness of sleep. Stillness is the aim of the seeker. Even a single effort to still at least a single thought, even for an instant, goes a long way to reach the state of quietude. Effort is required, and it is possible in the waking state only. There is the effort here. There is also awareness. The thoughts are stilled. So there is the peace of sleep gained. That is the state of the jnani, the knower of reality. It is neither sleep nor waking, but intermediate between the two. There is the awareness of the waking state and the stillness of sleep. It is called Jagrat Shashuti. Call it wakeful sleep, or sleeping wakefulness, or sleepless sleep, or wakeless waking. It is not the same as sleep or waking separately. It is the state of perfect awareness and of perfect stillness combined. To reach Turiya, we have to first scrutinize the three states. In the waking state, there is perceiving, thinking, discriminating and choosing, liking and disliking, desire and fear, memory and anticipating, all of them moving around a perceiving center eye and caused seemingly by outside objects. In dreams, we experience almost the same without outer promptings. The whole picture, causes and effects, created by our imagination. In deep sleep, there is nothing. At least we do not remember anything. But identity is not wiped out. Otherwise, a Johnson who went to sleep might awake as a Benson. How can we bring this identity from deep sleep up into the wakened state? How can deep silence survive in turbulent noise? We have to use our control of that biologically acting mechanism, the brain. We do it more or less automatically during the wakened state. Think of your own room or office. While moving around, you see the furniture because you have to avoid stumbling over it, but you do not see it consciously. The act of perceiving is cut short after the initial stage. There is music coming out of a radio or transistor. Usually it is similar to the aforesaid while you have to do some work. You hear it, but not consciously. You cut short the act of listening after the first stage. Somebody might tell you something. You not only hear it, but you are listening attentively to grasp the meaning. If you are not interested, you register the news to your memory, or not, and go on with your task. You have perceived the event, but it has not made an impression on you, has not altered your quiet state of consciousness. You cut it short after the second stage. This attitude of aloofness, of detachment, has to be kept and practiced as often as possible throughout the day. Because the moment you are perceiving something and reacting on it, being interested or emotionally involved, positively or negatively, you have covered up the silent, neutral, pure witnessing I by the reactive, aggressive, personal I. Accordingly, the sadhana, the spiritual practice of hunting the I, includes the practice of attention to our own perceiving, with the purpose of cutting it short just before the stage of reacting sets in. In practicing this kind of detachment, the seeker will soon get to a state of pure awareness, which is no longer perceiving. To perceiving, in the customary meaning of the term, belongs grasping and reacting. It has an object and is an act within time and space. It is the highest wakefulness without all the other characteristics of the wakened state. This is one means to carry over the absolute silence of deep sleep into the absolute, the pure awareness of the waking state. Sri Ramana Maharshi named it the sleepless sleep, the wakeful sleep, or sleep walking.